Good afternoon. My name is Mary Blakey, and I'm the Director of Partnerships here at Human Kinetics in our professional education group. I work with the various organizations that utilize our coach education program, and I'm very happy to have you join me here for this webinar to discuss our Coaching Principles 5th edition course today. So before we get started, I have a few notes to mention. First, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available to view on our site a little bit later on. There are live captions available if you need them. To turn those on, you can go to the meeting controls at the top of your screen and select the More Options button. That's those little 3 dots. Go to Language and Speech and then turn on live captions from there. You can also participate by using the chat and the Q&A and the different reactions that are available. So feel free to use those throughout the webinar to participate if you'd like to. All right, so for today's agenda, we're going to cover some of the features of the new edition of the Coaching Principles online course. We'll talk about the streamlined processes that our new Rivent course platform provides. Processes for purchasing as well as accessing the course. We'll talk a little bit about the new reporting capabilities for administrators. There will be a few chances for questions. And then at the end, we'll have some additional content specifically for our clinic instructors. So if you are a clinic instructor, you can stick around for that. If you're interested in becoming an instructor, you can stick around. But if that's not something that's relevant to you, feel free to hop up at that time. All right, so as was the case before, this edition of the course is drawn from the Successful Coaching 5th edition textbook. This 5th edition was also fully revised and updated, just like the course. The book itself was written by Rainer Martens, sports psychologist and Human Kinetics founder, as well as Robin Veely, who is new to this edition, and she did a great job of revising every single chapter in the book. Dr. Veely is a professor in the Department of Sport Leadership and Management at Miami University, Ohio. She joined us for this one, and we're super excited to have her contribute. We also have, for the course specifically, world-renowned coach educator and author Wade Gilbert. He served as the course developer of this edition of Coaching Principles. Dr. Gilbert is a professor of kinesiology at Fresno State University. And then we have Brian Gearty, who is director and associate professor of the sport coaching master's program at the University of Denver. Dr. Gearty joined us for this edition, and he appears as a mentor coach throughout the course in those short video clips that we added to each unit. So we have a great team here, a great group of experts in the field who came together to create this edition, and we are really pleased with what they come up with. Right, so the 5th edition of the course does still stay true to our objective to teach the fundamental tenets of becoming a successful coach, both on and off the field, while being more streamlined and offering more practical applications. Each course part corresponds with one of the 5 book parts. Each of the course units corresponds with chapters. And so that's something that we're excited to offer again. That's something that you'll be used to seeing, but in a more streamlined and modern way. We did spend a lot of time on creating new activities and new video content. So I'm going to play this clip here to show what some of that looks like. Each unit of the course begins with a short animation that will set the stage for key concepts to be covered. That will be followed by a reading assignment from the course text itself. Then the course is going to present several interactive coaching scenarios that reinforce the topics that are presented in that unit. Those will depict some real-life situations that coaches are likely to face in their day-to-day jobs. The choices and the consequences are provided for each, so that'll compel coaches to weigh potential responses that they might have and anticipate outcomes of their choices. From there, there's going to be a short video clip. That's from our mentor coach, Dr. Gearty. That's going to summarize those key points that we covered, followed by a quiz to check the coach's understanding. Throughout all of that, there are also going to be coaching development activities where coaches can document their responses to different questions and learning outcomes and reflection points brought forth through the coaching scenarios. We also encourage coaches to compile their reflections into what would then be a comprehensive manual that they can refer back to in the future, use it for reflection, even use it for professional development. And then, of course, there is an online exam that coaches need to pass to earn their certificate. That's how the course concludes. It's now a 50-question test. A minimum passing score is still 80%, and there are opportunities to retake the exam if that's needed. And then in addition to that, the course also still includes some online resources. So there are about 20 to 30 forms, checklists, sample plans that are taken directly from the Successful Coaching 5th edition textbook, as well as some additional coaching scenarios. And coaches can access that through the online course. I'll show you that a little bit later. And they could also access it through an access code that's provided in their textbook if they choose to get a print copy of the textbook. All right, so a lot of these updates were made possible by our switch to a new online course platform. This platform is called Rivent. It helped us to streamline a lot of things, including how coaches access their courses. Since a lot of our organizations require coaches to only take the course once, it might not necessarily be something that different coaches are noticing an improvement upon. But the experience is a lot better now than it would have been for coaches that took the courses previously. Additionally, I think that you all as administrators, as instructors, you might notice that there won't be as many issues with logging in and with finding certificates or with making purchases, etc. So the new platform, coupled with a recently released new Coach Ed website, as well as some updates that we made to the content on the site. We added a chat box, we revised our FAQs. All of that has already led to a drastic drop in the number of tickets that our customer service team and our tech teams have seen submitted. And so that's kind of proved that our system is now much more intuitive, much more user-friendly than it has been in the past. All right, so now I want to show you exactly what that improved process looks like. I'll go ahead and play this screen recording here. So when coaches are ready to purchase a course, they can go straight to our site and just search through the courses catalog. You'll see the Coaching Principles course listed here, as well as Sport First Aid, as well as some bundles, because a lot of organizations do require both courses. All of our sport-specific courses, everything's available from this page. But the best way for individual coaches to know what's required by their organization is to go to the specific portal page for that org. So we have all of our organizations listed here. They'll select the org that they are going to be coaching for. I'm using Pennsylvania as an example here. And they'll be able to see exactly what's required of them and the best product options available. So I'm going to go with the online course with ebook just for this example. You'll see that there is also a print book option. They can choose whichever makes the most sense for them, and then go ahead and add it to their cart. Just like any other online purchase, you're going to go ahead and check out, but this is where coaches will be prompted to either log in if they have an existing account or create a new account on our site. Like I said before, a lot of coaches are going to be coming to the site for the first time because they're only required to take these courses once. And so in that case, they're likely going to be creating an account. So to create an account, we just ask for really basic information, name, email, obviously they'll set up a password, and then they'll also choose their organization at this point. Similar to that organization list that I already showed, we have lots of different groups here. In most cases, they'll only select one organization, but in some cases, especially with our Florida school districts, there will be an opportunity to select a sub-org. So in those cases, we have Florida as the organization, and then each individual district would be listed as a sub-org. After they select their organization, they can choose whether to be included in our National Coaches Registry. This is a public-facing list, and so that's why it's something that they need to opt into to be included on. But we definitely encourage all coaches to be included if they're comfortable with that. So if you ever get that question, whether they need to check that box or not, encourage them to do that. It makes it easier for you to look folks up, even parents or athletes themselves. It just shows really easily that a coach is certified and that they've completed this requirement to be able to coach. So once that's done and they are ready to create their account, they'll be taken back to the purchase page to complete their transaction. If they are setting up an account before going and adding anything to their cart, after they'll create the account, it will take them directly to their organization's portal page. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and complete our transaction. Again, it's just like any other online order. They'll enter their payment information and then submit their order. Once that's done, they will get an order confirmation on screen as well as in their email. Via email, they'll also get some instructions for accessing the course, and it's super simple. It's just 2 steps: log in and access the course. They will have that to save and to hold on to, but they actually can access the course straight from here. They don't have to find the email. From this point, they're good to go. And I'll show you how they can get to the course. I also want to note that that would be the case with a course with print book purchase as well. In the past, that coach would have had to wait for their package to arrive in the mail to be able to access anything. Now, of course, they would still need to wait for that print book to arrive, but they will have access to the course itself right away. And so if they want to start looking at some of the content, they wouldn't be able to complete those reading assignments, but they'd be able to start digging in if they'd like to. So if you're going to access the course after this point, you would just go to the Access My Course /test menu, and it will bring up your course history. We tried to make this really simple. That's one of the improvements that we made on the website, as well, is to just try to make it very intuitive for people to find what they need to find. This is where I'm going to kind of go off and mention how this might be a little bit different for coaches that are taking clinics. So those coaches wouldn't be purchasing a course online. They would likely be getting those course packages directly from their clinic instructor. So those people order packages in advance, and then you give them out to your coaches at the event. There will be an instruction sheet with all of those packages. That's going to have the web address where they would go to redeem the code that's also printed on that sheet. All of these codes are specific to one individual, and so they can only be used one time. And those are also super simple to redeem. So like I said, there will be a web address printed on that sheet, but you can also navigate to the same place using our FAQs. So you would just go to FAQs, online course, and then select the one that says, how do I redeem/activate my access code? You'll click the link there, and that's where the coach will just enter their code and click submit. And from that point, the process is exactly the same for coaches that bought a course themselves online, maybe received a distributed course, or accessed a course through an access code. So again, they'll just go to their course history and they'll select the course that they want to take. We're showing coaching principles right now, and they'll see a button here to begin the course. At this point, we provide some information and instructions on the best way to go about taking the course. So we highlight that the course content is included here. We mention that it's an open book test, and so they can have this course content up while they're ready to take their test so that they can have the best chance to succeed. We also mention some information about the test, that they must earn 80% or higher to receive credit, that there is the chance to take a retest for an additional fee if they need that. After the test, they would take a course evaluation and they would make a credit selection. They already selected an organization when they created their account, but in case that ever changes, or maybe they selected just the generic Human Kinetics Coach Education at that point, and they need to select a specific organization, they have the chance to do that here before they actually get their certificate. And then once that's done, they of course get their certificate and they can continue on and provide that to whoever might need it. So coaches have to read through all of this, click this little box to certify that they've read it before they can continue on to the course content. This is the course launch page. Because we bought the ebook version, both the ebook and the course materials are listed here. Again, we mentioned that they can have this open while they're taking their tests. We want to get that in front of people as often as we can so that they remember that that's a possibility. So our ebooks are hosted on VitalSource Bookshelf. So when they go to open their ebook, it will automatically take the coach to VitalSource. And from here, they have the option to create or log into an account on VitalSource or continue without an account. Again, if you get questions on this, I would encourage your coaches to create an account. That's going to ensure that they have access to the ebook perpetually. It won't expire. They can download the ebook on multiple devices, so they can have it on a phone, a tablet, a computer, all of the above at the same time. And they will never lose access to that ebook. If they continue without an account, they can always return back to the ebook, but they'll always be reading it online. And once the course access expires, their access to the ebook would also end at that point and they can't return to it. So if having the ebook is important to your instructors, if they think it is going to be something that they'll use in the future and refer back to, definitely encourage them to set up a VitalSource account so that they can keep that. All right, so I'm going to go back to the course launch page and open the course materials. We put the course instructions here again. Like I said, we want to get this in front of people as often as we can so that they ensure that they read it. But this is where you're going to see those different interactive activities that I showed in one of the previous slides here. This is where all of the units are. Those reading assignments will be mentioned, those videos, quizzes, things like that. The course does save your progress. So if a coach comes in here, they start going through some of this material and then they need to step away, that's okay. When they open the course back up, it will start where they left off. This is also at the top right corner where they can find some of those coaching forms and worksheets and things that I had mentioned before. So those are available right there. All right, once coaches are good, ready to start taking the test, they can go back to this course launch page and hit continue to be taken to the exam. So here we mention again that the test is open book. We even provide links directly to the ebook if they have that version, as well as the course content. We remind them that the passing score is 80% and that they can take a retest if they need to. That is a little bit of a change between the previous versions of Coaching Principles and this edition. We used to charge coaches for every retest that they take. Now, they're only charged for their first retest, and then they get unlimited additional attempts after that. So there's just one fee. If they happen to not pass the first attempt, there's just one fee, and they'll be able to take it until they do pass. All right, so then they'll just start selecting answers similar to the course itself. The exam is also going to save your progress. So if they have to leave, I'm going to close down some of these tabs, act like I'm stepping away. They'll just return to their course history. They'll open up the online course again. And now at this point, instead of seeing begin, they'll see resume. And so you'll see that come up in just a second. They'll be able to resume their course, and they're going to be taken directly to the course exam page this time. And then you'll see below that those first 3 questions that I had selected are still selected. Nothing else is. And so it saved what work I had already done. There are 50 questions on the exam now, and you are required to select an answer for all 50 of them. So if they accidentally miss a question and they try to submit it, they'll see this message here that there are some questions that weren't answered, and then there will be an asterisk by each of those questions. I only answered 3, so the whole rest of the page is going to show, hey, it's required to answer this question. So I went ahead and I selected all 50 answers so that you can also see what it looks like once they are ready to actually submit the exam. So all of my answers are chosen. I click submit and it gets graded immediately. Right away, as soon as they hit submit, their results are going to pop up. You'll see here, I got 98%. Well done. I passed the exam. So then they can go down and review their answers. You'll see this is the question I got wrong. It's marked with a little X and it's highlighted as my response. And then you'll see the correct answer is marked with a little check mark. You can also see some insights into how other coaches scored on the exam, what the average was, what common answers were, in case that's of interest. So you'll hit continue to complete the course evaluation. This is largely for our benefit so that we can see feedback on the course and see what kind of things we might need to improve in the future. But some organizations also require this data. So for example, in Florida, they have to submit some information to the Department of Ed every so often. And part of that is feedback on how the courses they require are evaluated by their coaches. So if you're ever interested in seeing that data, or if you're required to submit that data for your organization, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to compile that for you. The next step is the credit selection. So this is where, again, they're going to pick the organization that they're trying to get certified to coach with. There's the generic just certificate of completion here, or each of our different districts. Some have credits included, some don't. It just depends on what's required at that organization. So once that is selected, they'll be able to download their certificate straight from this page. They'll also be able to review their score and review the test if they'd like to. Downloading the certificate is going to open a PDF in another tab, and then they can go ahead and download that to their computer, print it off, and deliver it to whoever might need it for them to complete their requirements. We also tried to make this super easy in case a coach doesn't do that right away. You know, they say, okay, I'm done. I got to shut this down and go, and they need to return to their certificate later. We tried to make that super intuitive and simple as well with our new website. And so in this access my course /test menu, there's a print my certificate option that they can select. Right now, that's going to take them to our FAQs because we do still have some certificates from our legacy system. So there are a couple of different links that they can use to find their certificates. The first one is what they'll likely be pressing at this point, and it will take them directly to their course history again. And now you'll see there's a review button and a certificate button. They can click either. Obviously, the certificate's going to open up the certificate again. And then the review button will allow them to see their score, will allow them to click back into the course content if they'd like, or review their exam to see kind of what questions they got right or wrong, all of that. So as a reminder, our Coaching Principles course obviously is in this system, but now all of our other courses are also in this system. So if you have other requirements for your organization, such as the Sport First Aid course or some of our sport-specific courses, the purchase process, the access process, the platform itself, all of that's going to be the same as what I just showed you. The only difference is in retests. So Coaching Principles and Sport First Aid do have that new retest policy where they only have to pay for a retest one time and they get unlimited additional attempts. The other courses in our system, that's included. So they can automatically get as many attempts on the test that they need to. All right, so I'll go ahead and pause here for some questions. So if you have any questions on accessing the courses or purchasing the courses, go ahead and enter them using the Q&A box. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. So the new platform also allows for some additional admin privileges. Before we get into that, though, I do want to note that the best method for tracking coaches' completions and seeing who has completed courses is to have the individual coaches be responsible for their own certificates, and to have them take initiative to provide their certificate directly to the athletic department, to the HR department, other administrators, whoever it is that needs to know that they completed their course. have the coach send it directly to them. So that's always our first recommendation, so that you as an admin or an instructor or an AD, you can avoid having to look anybody up or go searching for completions. Now, if something does come up and you do need to look up a coach, there are a couple of methods for doing so. The first is the NCR, our National Coaches Registry. This is still a great way to look up coaches. I will show you a quick example of how to do that. So from our main site, there is the National Registry link right there up at the top. You can click Find a Coach and then enter whatever kind of search parameters that you're looking for. I'm going to pretend I'm in Illinois right now for the IHSA. So I'm going to select my state, my organization, and then I want to see all the coaches that completed a course in the last month. So I'll enter a start date and an end date and then click Submit. Depending on how wide those parameters are, it might take a little while for the results to pop in. So definitely give that a second, have some patience as it's compiling the results. As you can see here, there are a lot of coaches that have taken courses for IHSA. You'll see their name, their location, the course they took, the date they passed the course, and their org affiliation here. But say you're just looking for a particular coach. You said, you have a coach named John. He said he took a course this past month. And so you just want to double check on that because maybe he didn't send you his certificate. You can click type in John and search again, and you'll see all the Johns that fall under the same parameters that we had before. So if you're ever missing anyone, maybe this John still didn't show up, you haven't gotten a certificate yet, and you're just curious, like, hey, did they actually take their tests? What's going on? Maybe it's in progress, and that's not something that the NCR will show. Don't hesitate to reach out to me directly or to our ce@hkusa.com inbox, and that is CE, like coach education, at hkusa.com. We're happy to look up an individual coach for you, provide some more information, or provide some expanded reports if you need bigger lists of maybe who has completed courses. I also want to mention again that this is only going to show coaches that have checked that little box that I showed you before to be included in the NCR. So anybody who passed a course and checked that box, they're going to be listed here. If they check the box, but they haven't finished a course or passed a course yet, they obviously won't be listed. On the other hand, if they did complete a course, but they didn't check that box, they didn't want to be included, you're not going to find them on the list. So there are definitely cases where you might need to reach out, and that's totally okay. Feel free to do that. Okay, so besides the NCR, there are some select organizations that qualify for some expanded access that allows them to run reports for their organization or look up coaches individually. That would be directly on Rivent. It would require a new Rivent account that we would set up for you. It's not something that we offer to everyone, as we really do try to depend on coaches for submitting everything that they need, and then to rely on the NCR. But if you're interested in having administrator access, please reach out to me directly and I can let you know whether you qualify and can start the process to get you set up with that if that's appropriate. So here's a quick look at what is available with this type of admin account. First, I'm going to show you what it looks like to search for an individual. So I'm using an IHSA account right now to show what this admin account would look like. You can search by course, or you can search by all of the courses that you have in your specific account. And then you can search by name, or a variety of other criteria, and choose how the data appears. So right now I'm going to search for Coach Smith. I'm going to search by their last name. I want it to pull in results by last name, first name, so that everything's in alphabetical order. And I'm not going to worry about a date because I'm just looking for maybe they submitted a course anytime. So I'll go ahead and search, and it's going to pull up all of the Smiths that have taken the courses that I'm looking at. Where this differs a little bit from the NCR is that it shows all of the coaches, despite whether they have completed a course, whether they've not even started, whether it's in progress. There aren't any on this screen, but if somebody failed, it would also show that as well. You can also get to a coach's certificate directly from this page. So if you click on the little certificate icon here, it will open a PDF just like the coach would see if they grabbed their certificate from their own course. Rievent also gives admins the capability to run reports and to export those reports. So if you need a list of participants who've completed tests over a certain date range, you can get that sort of report for yourself too. So similar how I mentioned before that Florida requires data from our evaluations, they also require a list of how many coaches have taken courses or have passed courses and that kind of thing. So this reporting does allow those admins with the ability to find that information themselves. So we've set up a filter that will pull in that information. You can edit that filter with the dates that you're looking for. There are some other things that you can play with as well. And we provide instructions on all of this. But once you're ready to search, you can just apply that criteria, and then it will allow you to download an Excel spreadsheet that has all of the data that you need. There is a lot of data that gets pulled into that. And so it's probably way more than is necessary or that you would ever need. But at that point, you can sort, filter, edit to get this into whatever form you might need for what you're looking for. So this really covers everything. It has name, location, complete date, even expiration dates are listed here. It, of course, shows scores and whether or not they pass the course. It even gets into every single question. So if you're interested in having admin access set up, please reach out to me directly. I can let you know whether or not you qualify and help get you set up if that's appropriate. All right, so we'll pause again and see if anybody has any questions on the different methods of finding coaches and getting reports. So now we are at the point where we're going to talk about clinic instructors specifically. So if you are a clinic instructor, or maybe you're interested in beginning to offer clinics, feel free to stick around and we'll go over some additional things that are available to you as a clinic instructor. So all of our instructors do get access to some additional ancillary materials that will help them instruct the course. They will get access to an instructor guide, instructor videos, the full online course, of course, all of the coaching forms that come with, as well as an ebook copy of the Successful Coaching textbook. That is all kind of bundled together in our HK Propel platform, which I'll show you in just a second. But instructors can also receive a hard copy of the Successful Coaching textbook if they'd like, as well as complimentary access to the course/exam. Our main requirement of course instructors is just that they take and pass the course that they're wanting to give a clinic on. We are not requiring instructors who have previously passed other editions to retake it at that point, but you can if you want to. And so if you want to have a new certificate, maybe a refreshed listing on the NCR, you are welcome to take the new exam. And so if that's something you're interested, or you're interested in receiving a complimentary hard copy of the textbook, just reach out to me and let me know. We'll be happy to get that set up for you. Once a new instructor passes the course and wants to start teaching, we'll also set them up with the online ancillaries that are available. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this access looks like. This is our HK Propel dashboard. When we grant you access to the instructor materials, you're going to get an access code that you can redeem here in HK Propel. I have a lot more content in here than you will see. HK Propel is also where all of our instructor ancillaries live for our K-12 teachers, for our higher ed faculty. And so unless you are also teaching in one of those areas and use our textbooks for that, this is probably your first time using HK Propel, and you're only going to see the coaching principles resources here. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and open up the course. This will allow you to see the full online content, those same kind of units that I showed you before that your coaches are going to see when they purchase the course and when they take it in the Rivent platform. This is the same exact view. So you'll be able to see what they see, go through the activities if you want to. It's just available for you if you need it. The other piece of content that you have in HK Propel is the ebook or the coaching forms. So this is where you can go. This is the same view as your coaches are going to see, unless they're accessing the forms through the online course shell. But if they get a physical copy of the book and they access it through that multi-use code that's printed in there, they're going to see that here. So these coaching forms can be downloaded all together as a zip file, or they can be downloaded individually by form. So there's all sorts of good stuff here that coaches can take and use from day one and start implementing if they'd like to. So now we'll go back to our library. The next place, and really the main place that you're going to be going to in HK Propel, is this teacher resource tab. Again, I'm going to put coaching in here so that only the coaching stuff shows up. But you first have access to the ebook here. If you don't need a hard copy and you just want to take a look at the ebook, this will be available to you for as long as you have access to the HK Propel resources. It's similar to many other ebooks. It is a different platform than your coaches will have if they purchase an ebook version of the course. You don't need a VitalSource account to look at this ebook. You just have it directly already in your HK Propel account. But there are some handy features here. You can browse through the table of contents. You can save bookmarks. You can save notes. Just some various features that might be helpful to you if you're utilizing the ebook. Right, so now we're going to look at the actual instructor pack. This is where the meat of the content is going to be located. If you've been instructor for a while and have had previous editions of the instructor guide, you might remember that being a physical binder full of resources. Instead of creating those binders, we've put everything on this online site here. So the different sections cover different things that will be helpful to you about the course, about kind of best practices for educating your coaches or for presenting the course itself. We talk about, the ideal time it requires, the ideal size of a clinic, kind of introduce everything that's available to you in this resource and within the course. We give little tips on preparing for the course, actually presenting it, and then following up with coaches afterwards. And then again, here are some tips for being an effective instructor. But section 5, I think, is what you're going to find most helpful. So this really lays everything out step by step. It even provides like a script of what you would need to do to present a clinic. You'll see that there are time notations at the beginning of each unit, and then for each section as well. It's going to give you an idea of how long that will take for you. It shows you what to say. It shows you what to hand out. It will mention activities that you can have coaches complete, and link to any worksheets that you might need. It will link to any videos that you might need to play. So this is really handy and has all of the information that you might need to present the course. Even if you're a first-time clinic instructor, you'll be set up for success and we'll be able to present the course in the clinic really smoothly by using these resources and these tips here. Okay. The other thing that is included here in the instructor guide is a link to all of the instructor videos, all of the worksheets, and similar to those coaching forms that I showed you earlier, you can download all of the videos in a combined zip file, or you can download them individually by unit for, whatever videos that you want to show. You can do the same with the worksheets, and we also include some sample solutions to those worksheets here. So if that's something that you want to utilize in a clinic and have some ideas in mind of what some solutions would be, you can do that. And then if you still like having a hard copy of all of this information, we did create a PDF version of the entire instructor guide. So if you want to go ahead and download that and print that out and put it into a binder like you're used to having before, this would be the best way to do that. Okay, one more pause for questions. Any questions on getting access to the instructor materials? If that's something that you're interested in doing, maybe you haven't received them yet for the current edition of the book, you only have them for old editions. If you need a copy of the textbook itself, go ahead and reach out to me and I would be happy to get you set up with that access and with that content. Okay, so that covers it. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I hope that it was helpful to see what the course looks like from the perspective of a coach, of an admin, of an instructor. If you do still have any questions on the course, how to offer the course, or other courses that are available from Human Kinetics Coach Education, please don't hesitate to reach out anytime. My information is listed here on the screen. You can reach me by phone or email, and I would be happy to chat or set up an individual meeting to go over everything. So thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a great day.